Have you ever had a family member say to you, "I am ashamed of you"? Have you ever had somebody say, "I'm ashamed for you"? I know that I've had somebody say that to me before, and it doesn't feel good. Can you imagine if God Himself was ashamed of you, ashamed of your actions? This weekend in my Sunday morning message, I'm going to be talking about how do you make the final approach. And I'm talking about evangelism. How do you make that final approach to talk to somebody about Jesus? We're going to be studying in Mark chapter 8, verses 34 through 38. I want to share that brief passage with you right now. Mark 8, beginning in verse 34, it says this: "And he called to him the crowd," meaning Jesus, "with his disciples, and he said to them, 'If anyone would come after me, let him deny himself and take up his cross and follow me. For whoever would save his life will lose it, but whoever loses his life for my sake and the gospel's will save it. For what does it profit a man to gain the whole world and forfeit his life?' Verse 38, "For whoever is ashamed of me and of my words in this adulterous and sinful generation, of him will the Son of Man also be ashamed when he comes in the glory of his Father with the holy angels." What that verse right there is saying in verse 38 of Mark chapter 8 is that if you're ashamed of God, you deny God, and you're more concerned about yourself than Him. If you deny God for all of eternity, He's going to be ashamed of you, because in turn you were initially ashamed of Him. If you're trying to think about making that final approach to talk to somebody about the love of Jesus, just sit back and think for a second. Am I ashamed of my faith? You know, Paul said, "For I'm not ashamed of the gospel." The word ashamed is something that is just so degrading to somebody. How heart-wrenching would it be if you stood before God Himself and He had to say, "I'm ashamed of you"? Worse off, how hard would it be to look back at your life and say, "I was ashamed of God"? So next time you're on the verge of possibly sharing your faith with somebody, just think about the fact that you don't want to be ashamed of God. You want to be proud of God and excited about God. So when you make that final approach, just think, man, I want to make God a big deal in this world. I don't want to be ashamed of Him. I look forward to seeing you this Sunday morning as we expand upon Mark 8, 34 through 38, talking about how do you make the final approach. God bless.